Time for another little neuroscience nugget, and it goes really well with something that I just put on as a reel around the topic of abundance, right? Last time I did a neuroscience nugget, it was all around the amygdala, and it was around your fear radar and how you get really triggered by something that you don't really understand why, but your body does crazy things, right? And you may go into fight, flight, freeze response. So many ways that you can manage that and get into the operating system and start to kind of retrain that guard dog that's yapping all the time so that you have a little bit more of a comfortable life and you can manage your nervous system effectively so that it only kicks in when it's meant to, right? For survival, not just every day, all the time, making you feel anxious. Loads and loads of stuff on that in Mojo School. So I would advise you to have a little look because I've got lots of wisdom to share. But off the back of our amygdala conversation, I just wanted to make you aware that you don't really use very much of your mind, you know. You might think you do, but I bet you didn't know that you're only actually aware of around 5% of what's going on in your mind. Your thoughts that you're consciously aware of is around 5%. That means around 95% is subconscious or unconscious mind. You're not aware. And in a lot of my deep dives, a lot of the stuff that I talk about, we go into an awful lot of detail because my specialist subject is shadow work, right? So it's about illuminating and shining a light on the stuff that's hidden, i.e. 95% of your subconscious mind. And when we start to have a little look at that, that operating system is really programmed. We come with default settings, right? We're all born with default settings. And then throughout life, our experiences with our caregivers, with our peers, our friends, our family members, our culture, our community, our teachers, our schooling, the media, so many influences then program along the way the stuff that's locked in there, right? Your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors come from that. Now, if they are really positive experiences that bring you joy and uplift you and bring you a lot of peace and give you all the warm fuzzies, then great. You then start to behave around that and the synapses in your brain start to hardwire together with these experiences, right? You have more of them. But if along the way, from early childhood, you have some not so pleasant experiences and you have things that happen to you that leave emotional wounds and scars and leave imprints in your body, they get locked in. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in another neuroscience nugget. But if you think about all of those things stacked up over time, they're kind of locked in your body because they don't get the chance to be metabolized and processed because they're just too painful at the time. And they could be simple little things when you were a child that you wouldn't think are a big deal now. But when you're little, they're huge, right? And then you start to think and feel and behave around that new belief about yourself. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe you're ugly or stupid or nobody likes you, or choose your negative thought and insert it here. And what happens then is your brain starts to recalibrate. Your mind starts to think, okay, that's a belief I have about me. Let's see if we can prove that. And you start to have more experiences that then stack up and prove your belief right. And then over time, those neural pathways get hardwired in. So these thoughts, these feelings, these behaviors become paths well trodden. And then you have your labels, your whole identity becomes wrapped up in all of these things, right? And if you connect all this in with your amygdala, your guard dog, what happens is every single time a potential threat that kind of reminds you of something that happened that wasn't very nice and wasn't very comfortable, your 95% subconscious mind is looking for patterns to prove itself and to keep you out of danger and to make sure it knows its belief system is correct. So it will keep throwing you these warning signs constantly, constantly, constantly. Don't do this, you might get judged. Don't go there, it might be dangerous and this might happen. You know what happens? You miss life. Right? You miss out on some amazing experiences because if you don't do the inner work to peel back these layers and remove some of this stuff, then you end up having a very, very constricted comfort zone, which is actually prison life, where you miss a lot of stuff, right? So it's my mission. I want to help people to understand some of these things. These neuroscience nuggets are just giving you a little insight into what's actually going on in your brain because we don't learn this in school for some reason. We don't learn this. Nobody knows and nobody can pass on this wisdom within their family to their children. So if we can start to do that, then life might start to look a bit different because we're going to start then having new thoughts, new experiences, new feelings. And we can start to get into that control panel and rewire some of the faulty programming, things that don't serve us, things that were never meant to happen, things that we don't need anymore. And there's a whole load of work we can do within that. reparenting your inner child, doing lots of parts work and finding out where the bits are that were wounded and what they need and how you can learn to work to bring all that stuff together and release what doesn't work for you anymore. It all starts with a bit of understanding of what's going on in your noggin. So that is my neuroscience nugget for today. Loads more where that came from. So make sure you give me a follow, make sure you like, save this video if you like it, and take a look at Mojo School. Just Google it and have a look at what I've got in store on my dashboard to help you get into that rewiring.